Good evening, and welcome to the People Zoom Readers Theater's tribute to Black authors and the Black experience. We're a very diverse group that uses drama as a vehicle to bring us together and focus attention on issues, people, and movements that affect our society, our humanity, and our democracy. And we're delighted to have you with us tonight and hope after we all watch our recorded performance, you'll share your thoughts about the works you heard and tell us about your favorite Black authors that were not included. Thank you again for joining us. I look forward to seeing you after the performance. Enjoy.
Good evening. As a mission of the People's Zoom Readers Theater is to combat prejudice, hate, and injustice through drama, we feel it is fitting for our organization to honor Dr. King, a leader in the fight for justice and equality, with writings that tell the stories and the thinking about the Black experience in America. We'd like to start with the 1619 Project, a new origin story by Nicole Hannah Jones. It is, and we quote, a journalistic initiative launched by the New York Times in August 2019 that re-examines American history. This project places the arrival of enslaved Africans in Virginia in 1619 at its center. It explores the impact of slavery on the nation's founding principles and contemporary society through essays, a podcast, and a documentary series. It was first published in August of 2019 in commemoration of the 400th year anniversary of enslaved Africans landing on the shores of the United States in Virginia. We should also tell you that the 1619 Project is a provocative source of discussion among historians and others. The author, Nicole Hannah Jones, is an award-winning investigative reporter who covers civil rights and racial injustice for the New York Times Magazine. She is also the founder and director of the Center for Journalism and Democracy at Howard University. Her reporting has earned her several prestigious awards, including a Pulitzer Prize, a Peabody, and an Emmy. She won the Pulitzer Prize for commentary in 2020 for her work on the 1619 Project. We hope a few quotes from the 1619 Project will inspire you to read it or even watch the documentary that explores the project.
The 1619 Project, a new origin story by Nicole Hannah Jones. James Baldwin famously said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it is faced." Even as a teenager, I understood that the absence of 1619 from mainstream history was intentional. People had made the choice not to teach us the significance of the year, and it followed that many other facts of history had been ignored or suppressed as well. What else hadn't we been taught? I was starting to figure out that the histories we learn in school, or more casually, through popular culture, monuments, and political speeches, rarely teach us the facts, but only certain facts. School curricula generally treats slavery as an aberration, in a free society, and textbooks largely ignore the way that many prominent men, women, industries, and institutions profited from and protected slavery. While history is what happened, it is also, just as important, how we think about what happened and what we unearth and choose to remember about what happened.
But it would be historically inaccurate to reduce the contributions of Black people to the vast material wealth created by our bondage. Black Americans have also been and continue to be foundational to the idea of American freedom. More than any other group in this country's history, we have served generation after generation in an overlooked but vital role. It is we who have been the perfecters of this democracy. Negro poverty is not white poverty. These differences are not racial differences. They are solely and simply the consequence of ancient brutality, past injustice, and present prejudice. They are anguishing to observe. For the Negro, they are a constant reminder of oppression. For the white, they are a constant reminder of guilt. But they must be faced, and they must be dealt with, and they must be overcome if we are ever to reach a time when the only difference between Negroes and whites is the color of their skin. Nicole Hannah-Jones, The 1619 Project, A New Origin Story.
One of my favorite playwrights is August Wilson, who penned an acclaimed cycle of plays, each set in a different decade of the 20th century about Black Americans. He won the Pulitzer Prizes for two of them, Fences and The Piano Lesson. Jiminy Ocean is the play that begins it all. It is chronologically the first work in August Wilson's decade-by-decade cycle. Jiminy Ocean takes place in 1904 in Pittsburgh's Hill District. The Hill is the home to the city Black community, many of whom were formerly enslaved, of children of those who survived slavery and migrated north to escape poverty, discrimination, and danger in the South. The play is set in the home of Aunt Esther, the community's spiritual leader, who is believed to be 285 years old and to have the power to wash people's souls. Aunt Esther lives in 1839 Wally Avenue, and her mentee, Black Mary, and her protector. In this scene, Aunt Esther is mentoring Black Mary.
Black Mary, fix up a plate of whatever you got and bring it in the room. Draw that shade. Bring me that plate and let me know when Celie comes. You got that stove too hot. Damp it down. You be done burnt down the place.
It's down already.
It's too hot. Damp it down. Take some of that wood off that fire.
You need fire to cook with. How else are you going to get it done?
Turn it down.
Here, you cook it. You turn it down. I can't do everything the way you want me to. I'm not you. I got my own way of doing things. I like the fire high. That's the way I cook. You like it down. That's the way you cook. If you ain't cooking it, you ain't got nothing to say about it. All you got to do is worry about is the eating.
I just say the fire's too high.
It's been 3 years now. I can't do nothing to satisfy you. I may as well lay down somewhere and forget about it. You got something to say about everything. Turn the fire down. Wash the greens in the other pot. Shake the flour off the chicken. Tuck in the corners of the sheet. That's too much starch. That ain't enough salt. I'm tired of it. Your way ain't always the best way. I got my own way of doing it, and I'm going to do it. If I stay around here, I'm going to do it my way.
What took you so long?
The Piano Lesson, which was recently made into a movie, is the fourth play in August Wilson's Pittsburgh cycle. It's about a Black family living in Pittsburgh in 1936 that is grappling with the family legacy and the difficult decision they need to make as they determine the fate of their heirloom piano. Boy Willie shows up at his sister Bernice's home after having recently been let out of prison in Mississippi. Right away, we see that he is trouble, and he and his sister Bernice begin arguing from the moment he shows up at her door. Boy Willie soon reveals that he is here to take their family's old piano and sell it in order to buy back the land that their family had worked as slaves. But Bernice refuses to give it up. We see them grapple with the question of past versus future as Boy Willie attempts to take ownership over their family history, while Bernice fights to keep her family's legacy alive. All the while, the piano acts as a constant reminder of the many ghosts of the past, good and bad, that haunt their lives. Bernice argues in defense of keeping the piano and thereby the ancestors' legacy, in opposition to supporting the violent ways of Boy Willie.
You ain't taking that piano out of my house. Look at this piano. Look at it. Mama Ola polished this piano with her tears for 17 years. For 17 years, she rubbed on it till her hands bled. Then she rubbed the blood in, mixed it up with the rest of the blood on it. Every day that God breathed life into her body, she rubbed and cleaned and polished and prayed over it. Play something for me, Bernice. Play something for me, Bernice. Every day I cleaned it up for you. Play something for me, Bernice. You always talking about your daddy, but ain't never stopped to look at what this his foolishness cost your mama. 17 years worth of cold nights and an empty bed. For what? For a piano? For a piece of wood to get even with somebody? I look at you and you're all the same. You, Papa Boy, Charles, Whining Boy, Doka, Crawley, you're all alike. All this thriving and killing and thriving and killing. And what did it ever lead to? More killing and thriving. I ain't never seen it come to nothing. People getting burned up, people getting shot, people falling down their wells. It don't never stop.
Fences is a 1985 play by August Wilson. Set in the 1950s, it is the sixth in his Pittsburgh cycle. Like all of the Pittsburgh cycle plays, Fences explores the evolving African-American experience and examines race relations, among other themes. The focus of Wilson's attention in Fences is Troy, a 50-year-old African-American working-class head of a household who struggles with providing for his family, his wife Rose, and his son Corey. In his younger days, Troy was an excellent player in the Negro League Baseball and continued practicing baseball while serving time in prison for a murder he had committed during a robbery. Because the color barrier had not yet been broken in Major League Baseball, Troy was unable to get into the major leagues to make good money or to save money for the future. He now lives a menial, though respectable, blue-collar life of trash collecting. Later in the play, he remarkably crosses the race barrier and becomes the first Black truck driver in Pittsburgh, instead of just being a barrel lifter. Here, Troy tells us What happened to him and why?
One thing led to another. Met your mama. I was young and anxious to be a man. Met your mama and had you. What do that for? Now I got to worry about feeding you and her. Got to steal 3 times as much. Went out one day looking for somebody to rob. That's what I was, a robber. I tell you the truth, I'm ashamed of it today, but it's the truth. Went to rob this fellow, pulled out my knife, and he pulled out a gun. Shot me in the chest. Felt just like somebody had taken a hot burning iron and laid it on me. When he shot me, I jumped him with my knife. They told me I killed him, and they put me in the penitentiary and locked me up for 15 years. That's where I met Bono. That's where I learned how to play baseball. Got out that place, and your mama had taken you and went on to make a life without me. 15 years was a long time for her to wait. But that 15 years cured me of that robbing stuff. Rose will tell you, she asked me when I met her if I had gotten all that foolishness out of my system. And I told her, baby, it's you and baseball, all that counts with me. You hear me, Bono? I meant it too. She say, which one comes first? I told her, baby, ain't no doubt it's baseball, but you get with me and we'll both outlive this baseball. Am I right, Rose? And it's true.
I play Rose, Troy's wife. At 43, Rose is 10 years younger than Troy, and she is strong, resilient, and loving. She is extremely loyal and has been married to Troy for 18 years. Despite Troy's faults, Rose supports him in everything he does. Rose is the peacemaker of the family. Unlike Troy, who builds metaphorical barriers to distance himself from his loved ones, Rose builds connections to keep her family united. I've been standing with you. I've been right here with you, Troy. I got a life too. I gave 18 years of my life to stand in the same spot with you. Don't you think I had dreams and hopes? What about my life? What about me? Don't you think it ever crossed my mind to want to know other man? That I wanted to lay up somewhere and then forget about my responsibilities? That I wanted someone to make me laugh so I could feel good? You're not the only one who's got wants and needs. But I held on to you, Troy. I took all my feelings, all my wants and needs, my dreams, and buried them inside you. I planted a seed and watched and prayed over it. I planted myself inside you and waited to bloom. And it didn't take me no 18 years to find out the soil was hard and rocky and it wasn't never gonna bloom. But I held on to you, Troy. I held you tighter. You was my husband. I owed you everything I had. Every part of me I could find to give you. And upstairs in that room, with the darkness falling in on me, I gave everything I had to try and erase the doubt that you wasn't the finest man in the world. And wherever you was going, I wanted to be there with you. Because you was my husband. Because that's the only way I was going to survive as your wife. You always talking about what you give and what you don't have to give, but you take too. You take and don't ever know nobody's giving.
I play Corey, the son of Troy and Rose. Corey embodies a hope for the future unmet by the pessimism of his father. When Corey seeks love and compassion in his relationship with Troy, it's met with a hardened toughness, as his father believes that his relationship with his son is born out of sheer duty, not love. Raised in an era where the racism Troy experienced in his youth has, to a rather small yet significant extent, faded, and where opportunities for Black lives have begun to open, Corey has an optimism about his future. Troy, however, views Corey's career aspirations as idealistic and detached from the realities of a racist society where, for instance, he believes the white-dominated sports world will not support his son's ambition to become a football player. I live here too. I ain't scared of you. I was walking by you to go into the house because you sitting on the steps drunk, singing to yourself. You can put it like that. I ain't got to say excuse me to you. You don't count round here no more. That's right. You always talking this dumb stuff. Now, why don't you just get out my way? You talking about what you did for me? What'd you ever give me? You ain't never gave me nothing. You ain't never done nothing but hold me back. Afraid I was gonna be better than you. All you ever did was try and make me scared of you. I used to tremble every time you called my name, every time I heard your footsteps in the house, wondering all the time, what's Papa gonna say if I do this? What's he gonna say if I do that? What's Papa gonna say if I turn on the radio? And Mama too, she tries, but she's scared of you. I don't know how she stands you. After what you did to her, what you gonna do? Give me a whooping? You can't whoop me no more. You're too old. You're just an old man. You crazy. You know what? You're just a crazy old man. Talking about, I got the devil in me. You took Uncle Gabe's money he got from the army to buy this house, and then you put him out? Come on, put me out. I ain't scared of you. Come on. Come on, put me out. Come on. Come on.
The Great Debaters is a 2007 American historical drama film starring and directed by Denzel Washington. It is based on a true story that revolves around the efforts of debate coach Melvin B. Tolson at Wiley College, historically Black college related to the Methodist Episcopal Church South, now the United Methodist Church, to place his team on an equal footing with whites in the American South during the 1930s, when the Jim Crow laws were common and lynch mobs were a fear of African Americans. The Wiley team eventually succeeded to the point where they were able to debate Harvard University. In 1935, the Wiley College debate team defeated the reigning national debate champions, the University of Southern California, depicted as Harvard University in The Great Debaters. The movie explores social constructs in Texas during the Great Depression. From day to day, insults African Americans endured to lynching. Also depicted in James Farmer, who, at 14 years old, was a Wiley debate team after completing high school, and who later went on to co-found the Congress of Racial Equality. Another character on the team was Samantha Book. She is based on the real individual Henrietta Bell Wells, acclaimed poet and the only female member of the 1930 Wiley team who participated in the first collegiate interracial debate in the U.S.
I'm Melvin Tolson, a professor and debating team coach at Wiley College. It's 1935, and I want to empower my Black students by helping them develop effective powers of reasoning and persuasive debating skills. With my guidance and our team's considerable talent, Wiley College became so successful competing with the top African American colleges that our team was invited to compete with white students, a groundbreaking achievement. This doesn't sound so revolutionary today, but in 1935 it was major. Because at that time there were laws, Jim Crow segregation laws, that made it illegal for Blacks and whites to go to school together. So our first debate had to be held outside, off campus, due to these laws of segregation. And Samantha Buck, only female on the team, made a great case against segregation. Let's hear what she argued.
As long as schools are segregated, Negroes will receive an education that is both separate and unequal. By Oklahoma's own reckoning, the state is currently spending 5 times more for the education of a white child than it is spending to educate a colored child. That means better textbooks for the white child than for the colored child. Oh, I say it's a shame. But my opponent says today is not the day for whites and coloreds to go to the same college, to share the same campus, to walk in the same classroom. Well, would you kindly tell me when that day is going to come? Is it going to come tomorrow? Is it going to come next week? In 100 years? Never? No. The time for justice, the time for freedom, and the time for equality is always right now.
James Farmer Jr., the youngest member of the Wiley debating team. He delivered the winning rebuttal in the debate that defeated the reigning national champion, the University of Southern California, which was Harvard in the movie. Let's hear what he had to say. Resolved. Civil disobedience is a moral weapon in the fight for justice. In Texas, they lynched Negroes. My teammates and I saw a man strung up by his neck and set on fire. We drove through a lynch mob, pressed our faces against the floorboard. I looked at my teammates. I saw the fear in their eyes and worse, the shame. What was this Negro's crime that he should be hung without trial in a dark forest filled with fog? Was he a thief? Was he a killer? Or just a Negro? Was he a sharecropper, a preacher? Were his children waiting up for him? And who were we to just lie there and do nothing? No matter what he did, the mob was the criminal. But the law did nothing, just left us wondering why. My opponent says, nothing that erodes the rule of law can be moral. But there is no rule of law in the South. Not when Negroes are denied housing, turned away from schools, hospitals, and not when we are lynched. St. Augustine said, an unjust law is no law at all, which means I have a right, even a duty, to resist with violence or civil disobedience. You should pray. I choose the latter.
A Raisin in the Sun is a play by Lorraine Hansberry that debuted on Broadway in 1959. The title comes from the poem Harlem, also known as A Dream Deferred by Langston Hughes. The story tells of a Black family's experience in South Chicago as they attempt to improve their financial circumstances with an insurance payout following the death of the father, and deals with matters of housing discrimination, racism, and assimilation. The New York Drama Critics Circle named it the best play of 1959, and in recent years, publications such as The Independent and Time Out have listed it among the best plays ever written.
The poem Dreams Deferred by the great Black poet Langston Hughes compares deferred dreams to a raisin drying in the sun. Dreams Deferred by Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? That poem is about me. I'm Walter Younger, the son in A Raisin in the Sun, Lorraine Hansberry's play about an African-American family. I'm very angry and frustrated. Here is a conversation I have with my mother.
Walter, what is the matter with you? Seems like you're tied up in some kind of knot about something. What's the matter? What's bothering you?
Mama, there is no point in talking to you.
I'm sorry about your liquor store, son. It just wasn't the thing for us to do. That's what I want to tell you about.
Do you know what this money means to me? Do you know what this money can do for us? Mama, I want so many things.
Yes, son.
I want so many things that they are driving me kind of crazy. Mama, look at me.
I'm looking at you. You're a good-looking boy. You got a job, a nice wife, a fine boy, and...
A job? Mama? A job? I open and close car doors all day long. I drive a man around in his limousine and I say, yes, sir. No, sir. Very good, sir. Shall I take the drive, sir? That ain't no kind of job. That ain't nothing at all. Mama, I don't know if I can make you understand.
Understand what, baby?
Sometimes it's like I can see the future stretched out in front of me, just plain as day. The future, Mama, hanging over there at the edge of my days. A big looming blank space full of nothing, just waiting for me. But it don't have to be. Mama, sometimes when I'm downtown and I pass those cool, quiet-looking restaurants where those white boys are sitting back and talking about things and turning deals worth millions of dollars, sometimes I see guys that don't look much older than me.
Son, how come you talk so much about money?
Because it is life, Mama.
Oh. So now it's life. Money is life. Once upon a time, freedom used to be life. Now it's money. I guess the world really has changed.
No, it was always money, Mama. We just didn't know about it.
In this next scene from A Raisin in the Sun, Mama and Walter's wife, Ruth, are talking about how Mama will use the insurance money that she received after her husband died. Well, what are you going to do with it then?
I ain't rightly decided. Some of it got to be put away for Benitha and her schooling, and ain't nothing going to touch that part of it. Nothing. Been thinking that we maybe could meet the notes on a little old two-story somewhere with a yard where Travis could play in the summertime. If we use part of the insurance for a down payment and everybody kind of pitch in, I could maybe take on a little day work again. a few days a week.
Well, Lord knows we've put enough rent into this here rat trap to pay for 4 houses by now.
Rat trap. Yep, that's all it is. I remember just as well the day me and Big Walter moved in here. Hadn't been married but 2 weeks and wasn't planning on living here no more than a year. We was gonna set away little by little, don't you know, and buy a little place out in Morgan Park. We had even picked out the house. Looks right dumpy today. But Lord child, you should know all the dreams I had about buying that house, fixing it up and making me a little garden in the back. And didn't none of it happen.
Yes, life can be a barrel of disappointment sometimes.
Honey, Big Walter would come in here some nights back then, slump down on that couch there and just look at the rug and look at me and look at the rug and then back at me. And I'd know he was down then, really down. And then, Lord, when I lost that baby, little Claude, I almost thought I was going to lose Big Walter too. Oh, that man grieved himself. He was one man to love his children.
Ain't nothing can tear at you like losing your baby.
I guess that's how come that man finally worked himself to death like he done. Like he was fighting his own war with this here world that took his baby from him.
He sure was a fine man, all right. I always liked Mr. Younger.
Crazy about his children. God knows there was plenty wrong with Walter Younger. Hard-headed, mean, kind of wild with women. Plenty wrong with him. But he sure loved his children. Always wanted them to have something. Be something. That's where brother gets all these notions, I reckon. Big Walter used to say he'd get right wet in the eyes sometimes, lean his head back with the water standing in his eyes, and he'd say, seemed like God didn't see fit to give the black man nothing but dreams. But he did give us children to make them dreams seem worthwhile. He could talk like that, don't you know?
Yes, he sure could. He was a good man, Mr. Younger.
Yes, a fine man. Just couldn't never catch up with his dreams. That's all.
We would like to share a few quotes from the movie Rustin, which shines a long overdue spotlight on the man who played a strategic part in organizing the historic August 28th, 1963 March on Washington, where Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his I Have a Dream speech. According to the National Museum of African American History and Culture, Rustin was one of Martin Luther King's closest advisors, especially on the techniques of nonviolent resistance. Rustin was also an openly gay leader among the civil rights movement. Actor Domingo, who's also gay, told Netflix Q that he was shocked he didn't know this part of LGBTQ history from his school time. I was just like, wait, what? So this openly gay man organized the march on Washington and inspired Dr. King to know about passive resistance and the teachings of Gandhi. Why don't I know this? I'm 53 and I just felt duped by my whole education. Here are the words from Bayard Rustin that should give us all something to think about, especially today.
We are all one, and if we don't know it, we will learn it the hard way. When an individual is protesting society's refusal to acknowledge his dignity as a human being, his very act of protest confers dignity on him. If we desire a society without discrimination, then we must not discriminate against anyone in the process of building this society. If we desire a society that is democratic, then democracy must become a means as well as an end. There are three ways in which one can deal with an injustice. One can accept it without protest. One can seek to avoid it. One can resist the injustice nonviolently. To accept it is to perpetuate it. People will never fight for your freedom if you have not given evidence that you are prepared to fight for it yourself.
Rustin talking to Martin Luther King. You're one of the smartest men I know. So explain to me why, after all that's left undone, am I again forced to justify my existence? Each of us are taught in ways both cunning and cruel that we inadequate, incomplete, and the easiest way to combat that feeling of not being enough is to find someone we consider less than. Less than because they are poorer than us, or because they are darker than us, or because they desire someone our churches and our laws say they should not desire. When we tell ourselves such lies, start to live and believe such lies, we do the work of our oppressors by oppressing ourselves. Strom Thurmond and Hoover don't give a shit about me. What they really want to destroy is all of us coming together and demanding this country change. Are they expecting my resignation? Some are, yes. Then they're going to have to fire me because I will not resign. On the day that I was born black, I was also born homosexual. They either believe in freedom and justice for all, or they do not.
We would like to conclude with quotes from Maya Angelou, who was an American memorist, poet, and civil rights activist. She published 7 autobiographies, 3 books of essays, several books of poetry, and is credited with a list of plays, movies, and television shows spanning over 50 years. She received dozens of awards and more than 50 honorary degrees. Angelou's series of 7 autobiographies focus on her childhood and early adult experiences. The first, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, 1969, tells of her life up to the age of 17 and brought her international recognition and acclaim. If you are always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. Please remember that your difficulties do not define you. They simply strengthen your ability to overcome. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. People know themselves much better than you do. That's why it's important to stop expecting them to be something other than who they are. Open your eyes to the beauty around you. Open your mind to the wonders of life. Open your heart to those who love you, and always be true to yourself. If you're going down a road and don't like what's in front of you, and look behind you and don't like what you see, get off the road. Create a new path. Hope and fear cannot occupy the same space. Invite one to stay. It's not where your dreams take you, it's where you take your dreams. Having courage does not mean that we are unafraid. Having courage and showing courage mean we face our fears. We are able to say, I have fallen, but I will get up. Hope does not take away your problems. It can lift you above them.
My wish for you is that you continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness.
I've learned that people will forget what you said. People forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it.
We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty.
Nothing will work unless you do. We hope you've enjoyed our presentation and perhaps learned about a person, play, movie, or quote that was unknown to you until now. Tell us your thoughts about what you heard, and feel free to introduce us to one of your favorites and why you like it so much.
Well, there we go. Well, I want to thank those of you who joined us today. And I certainly want to thank those of you who participated. I thought we had some really brilliant performances. And unfortunately, some of those quotes ring very true today, too true. Well, that's my part. Now, how about you? Those of you who, especially who never heard this before from us, feel free to share your thoughts.
Well, I was very, very pleased with the whole. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I was very, very pleased with the whole performance. Everyone was great. And it really did give me some insight on a lot of this that I did not know. I was so grateful to be invited to come on to listen by Diane Johnson. And I had a little trouble getting on, but I got in when I needed to because there was a lot I did not know about one of my favorite books that I had read and the movie Raisin in the Sun that I didn't even realize how it was really a passionate movie to me, but I didn't realize the depth of what they really went through. You know what I mean? So it gave me another insight on it, and everybody was great. I didn't know the part about Martin Luther King and Bayard Rustin. I didn't know all of that. So it was very informative. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you so much. We're so delighted that you're here. Yeah, great. And if you want to join us next time, you're welcome.
Yeah, I think I would. It's very, very informative.
Correct. Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, somebody else like to share?
I was actually at the Bayard Rustin LGBT Center in Princeton, New Jersey today.
Really?
Which was kind of cool. It's beautiful place, a very welcoming place for anybody who wants some information, for LGBT youth to just hang out and be comfortable. And it was neat. And then I had seen it before, but again, thank you to Alexis, our director, for exposing us to these things, because that name I, learned too. Like when I saw that today, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I read part of that part. I'm like, wait. So it means even more. So, and it's been a, all other things aside, in my eyes, a great MLK Day. Um, I also saw an interview that originally aired in 2018 with Joan Baez, who was a friend of Martin Luther King and was with him on the march in 1963. And she was describing the softer side of him, that he had quite a sense of humor and was a jokester and loved to eat things that were not good for you. But she said when he was on camera, strictly business. So that was insightful too. So, yeah.
That's great. Well, thanks for sharing that. I've been to the campus, but I wasn't aware that there was something that was.
Yeah, it's not on campus. It's just as you're entering town. It's beautiful old Victorian home. Yeah.
Next time. That's great. Yeah. Thank you. Somebody else want to share?
I thought the quotes at the end were very profound and inspiring. And yeah, and the slides along with them. And the slides were great.
Yeah.
The way through.
Yvonne, thank you. I see that you were able to join us. We thank you. I thought the slides were phenomenal. Yeah. And you move things around, and the pictures to accompany the quotes, but everything. I thought you did a terrific job. Thank you so much. So, somebody else?
Yes. My name is Ezra. Good evening, everybody.
Welcome.
Yes, I was glad to join. I actually was looking for some activity to do for Dr. King Day. So I had done two other activities in the northern New Jersey area, and then came in, and I was a little late joining, but I did join, and it's a great getting a background those movies. I did see The Great Debaters. I remember that. The other ones I hadn't seen yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing them, and it was good to get a background of them, and also hear the great Maya Angelou quotes, very motivational and directional as well.
Great. Well, we're so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, no problem. I don't know how to add my picture. I'm not sure. Wow.
Oh.
Well, anybody want to help with that? We've got two people, Daria, who helped me, and Yvonne, who's helped me. So what would we say if someone wants to add their picture?
Okay.
So
Video.
I just
there it is.
sent you a request to,
Excellent.
yeah, okay.
Okay, that's great. Wonderful. So anybody else like to share something? Rashid, I'm glad you were able to make it. We've missed you.
No, and I was coming in right at the end, so I know it was wonderful, but so I guess I'm going to have to catch the replay.
Yeah, that's fine. But we've missed you. We hope that you'll be able to join us for the next one.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody.
You too.
Same here.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. So, hi, Donna. Glad you could join us. Okay.
Oh yeah, hi. I just unmuted it. So I'm trying to think if I saw any of the movies.
Well, I'm still promoting The Great Debaters. I use that, I think, 20 times with my students. I just thought that was so inspirational. And unfortunately, it was the bad parts were true and the good parts were true. I love the good parts, but the bad I thought was. So for those of you who are not familiar, Don and I both taught international students at Drexel University. And so we felt it was I felt certainly, I used plays and movies, and I felt it was very important to educate our international students about the Black experience. And The Great Debaters was one of those movies that helped me, and certainly A Raisin in the Sun. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I've seen many movies with Denzel Washington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, indeed. So anybody else do anything? Anybody go to Girard College today? I know that there were a lot of events going on there. Anybody have a chance? I see that Diane Mills isn't here. I know she was.
I am here. I'm
Oh, you
here.
are here. Oh, I don't see you.
You don't see me, but I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, we see you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
How did
I've been
things
here the
go?
whole time.
How would things at Girard College today?
It was good. It wasn't as many people as we anticipated.
Oh.
But I did give out them flyers though, and I think you were battling with a couple of events going on at the same time. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks very much for trying. But I think the cold definitely was against us. So what can we do? This will be turned into a YouTube with Yvonne's help, and it will be available. And again, I want to thank Daria for helping me come on properly. And Denise, glad to see you. So now that we know that we can see you, we've got to find out. So when you're reading, we can see you as well. That's right. Tamara, you still with us?
Yes,
Well,
I'm here.
oh,
How are
great.
you?
Yeah, so I'm just suggesting that, we are, as we see, a diverse group here, and we're always welcoming new members. We are going to be focusing on, the next one is going to be our story, where our members will have a chance to share their backgrounds, which are quite fascinating. And then we're going to be focusing on banned books, and another one on addiction. And people are welcome to share their stories. I mean, I start a script, but I'm always happy to have participation for people to tell their stories or something related to what we're talking about. Hi, Margaret. Glad you're here. The more the merrier. We learn from each other. And we come from very different backgrounds, ages, you name it. But the more we have with our differences, the more we benefit. And I have to say, especially starting today, it's another chapter where community is extremely important. We have to help each other, lift each other, tell our stories, and also try and increase our audience so that we're getting our message out. But we're always looking for new members. And I can thank those of you who did come today and those of you who participated enough, because I'm finding it to be a hard time. And when I see you, I feel hope. I really feel hope. So thank you, each and every one of you, for being here tonight.
Will there be more groups going forward?
Pardon me?
Will there be more groups going forward?
Yes, there definitely will be. As I said, we're going to be doing at least 3 more this year. And if you're interested, I don't know how you got our information, but all you have to do is email me and I'll put you on our list. And as we go forward, you'll be invited to come to our get-togethers when we talk about what we're going to do, review a first draft of a script. And I always ask people to comment. We make changes all the time, additions. It's wonderful that everybody should feel comfortable with the script and they feel represented. And let me see, is Yvonne still here? Yeah, I was talking with Mark. It occurred to me that with Valentine's Day coming, maybe the one that we did on love relationships, maybe we can take that out of the mothballs. I mean, it's on our website, but promote it in a current way so that people can see what we're doing on that. And anything on the Chinese New Year, I think we should be promoting that. We like to share all of our different experiences with audiences, and we're here to enlighten as much as possible. So we'd love to have you and anybody else who just joined us today. We don't meet that often, so it's not a tremendous commitment. If you can't make something, you can't. But if you show interest, we'll find a way to make it possible for you to continue with us in some capacity. So if you I'm just where I could put it in the chat. My email address.
I just put it in the chat box for you.
So it's in the chat. Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Daria. Yeah. So if you're interested, and again, it would be wonderful to have all of you who joined us today to come with us. The more, the merrier. That's what my mother taught me, and she was absolutely right. No.
Everyone did a wonderful job, and it's just always these monologues are very, very inspirational. I really enjoyed learning more about Bayard Rustin. I didn't that was all new for me, so that was really good. And yeah, just always inspired and encouraged by these performances, and happy to be a part of it.
And we're so happy to have you a part of it, Denise. Thank you very much. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Angelique, I see that you're here. Hope you're feeling better.
Hello, yes, I'm here, still recovering. And yeah, I also want to say that tonight was a really nice performance and really important to talk about and to hear and to learn more new information. Yeah, I also learned a lot. Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you couldn't perform with us because you weren't well last week, but
yes,
next time, yeah, because
thank you.
Well when you're with us, yeah. But it's great having Diane Johnson back with us.
Yes.
Thank you. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Yeah. Well, I send you all big hugs. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, and be well. And I will be in touch with you very soon. The next one is our story. That's going to be February. I have the dates, but I'll send it out. And those of you who haven't had a chance yet to send yours in, it's not too late. Even if it's 5 sentences, even if it's 2 sentences, as long as we have you with us. Some of them are pretty long, so it's okay if we have a few that are very short. But I think our story will be very enlightening. I have been very touched by all those that I have read. Some I've had tears. Others I've been just rejoiced that each of you is part of our group. So thank you. So I'll be in touch with you real soon. Stay warm, and I hope to see you soon. And thank you again for coming.